Welcome to my channel, and in this video I'm going to be making a qipao. The pattern I used is the Porcupine Qipao, I think from Porcupine Patterns, and I'm only had a couple alterations to add some strengthening to where the fasteners go along the front and on the shoulder. In this project I see kind of broken up into 4 parts. There's the preparation, there's the sewing the top, sewing the bottom, and then the finishing portion that has like attaching the sleeves and adding the snaps. So I used a really lightweight cotton, which is why I changed the pattern to make it have extra interfacing. And let's go and get into it. For the preparation, I cut out the front and back pieces, the collar, and then my extra, lining bit, along with its interfacing, and then an extra shoulder piece with some interfacing for that. The extra lining piece here, I just kind of freehanded based on the top edge, and then I just kind of brought it down like 1.5 inches or something, and then just kind of mirror the top edge. It didn't really matter since it's going to be on the inside. And then I transferred the darts to the front and back pieces using tracing paper and a tracing wheel. I actually got the tracing paper and tracing wheel for this project since these darts were more complicated than any other project I'd worked on. So I decided it was finally time to get it. So I did that, and then I moved on to sewing the top. Okay, so for sewing the top, I pinned the extra lining piece I had to that front piece, and then sewed that together, flipped it, and ironed it. And I sewed the 2 shoulder pieces together at the bottom side, and then flipped that and ironed it. So now that I had the front piece, which had 1 shoulder, the shoulder piece, and then the backs, I sewed those together at the shoulders. And now that the back and the front are all together, the collar could be attached. So to get the collar made, I sewed the 2 pieces of the collar, one of which has the interfacing. I sewed the 2 pieces together on one side, and then I flipped it and then ironed it down. So after that, the side that wasn't folded was pinned to the dress, and then it was sewn down. After that, it could be folded up, and then I hand stitched it down along that folded edge. I generally try and do the stitch in the ditch, but it never really works out for me. I tend to have some threads going outside that line, and since this is right at the neck, I figured it was high visibility, and so I just decided to hand stitch it. Moving on from there, we can work on the bottom half of the dress. So the side that doesn't have the zipper, I just sewed down at the seam allowance, and then the side with the zipper, I sewed it down from the top zipper to where I wanted the bottom zipper to be with a very long stitch. And then after that, I sewed down the normal stitch. This allowed me to get the zipper inserted perfectly in with the fabric covering it without having an invisible zipper foot, which I didn't have at the time. So then I just stitched down the zipper, and then I could seam rip those long stitches that covered the zipper. After that, I finished the internal seams, which I did by folding over the hem twice and then just hand tacking it down. I did this because the 2 front pieces were going to be visible on the back after the slit opening. So I just hemmed all of the sides. To finish the hem of the bottom of the dress, I sewed the 2 sides down and then folded it inside out and then hand tacked that down. Once the main body of the dress was done, I added on the sleeves. To do the sleeves, I first ironed in the hem to make it easier later on, and then I sewed down the sides of the sleeves. Ironed that down, and then I attached the sleeve to the dress. I finished that seam and ironed it down, and then after that, I went ahead and actually stitched down that hem that I'd ironed in earlier. And then all that was left was to attach the snaps to the front and to install the hook and eye. So the hook and eye I installed right above the zipper to help hold it down. And then after that, I tried to space out the snaps to where I didn't have to do too many, but it was fully held flush with the top of the dress. And I decided to go with snaps because on earlier versions, I tried some buttons, but it was hard to get the buttons to sit close enough to the edge without being too difficult to attach. And I thought the snaps did a really good job of just holding it in place without adding any weight or making it difficult to put on and off. And this is how it turned out. The dress is really comfortable and I'm really happy with the fit. There's a lot of mobility in the sleeves and the arms, despite how form-fitting the dress is, and it's really easy to walk in given the slit. I ended up moving down where the slit begins a little bit on this version, but it didn't affect the mobility at all. Let me know what you think and if you've ever done a pattern like this, and I hope you enjoyed!